Have you ever had one of those aha moments with a snack or a meal where you just think, man, people would totally buy this? Well, today that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're breaking down how you can take that delicious dream of yours and turn it into a real, data-driven, successful business using a smart, structured process. So let's get into it. Okay, let's just start with a fun little challenge. Imagine right now you've only got $20 in your pocket. What food business would you launch? No, seriously. Think about it for a second. Maybe some kind of unique snack, a super refreshing drink. This is the exact kind of thinking that gets amazing businesses off the ground. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll talk about how to even find an idea. Then we'll unpack what a startup incubator actually is. After that, we'll learn the crucial step of testing your concept before you go all in. Then we'll dive into the super powerful lean startup method. And finally, we'll look at some real businesses you could get going on today. It's a clear roadmap from just a thought to a real profitable venture. All right, let's jump right into our first section, from idea to opportunity. You know, the real secret here is learning to see the little problems and frustrations around you, not just as annoyances, but as, well, potential gold mines. And here's the absolute key. The most successful businesses, they usually aren't born from some random flash of genius. Nope, they come from solving a real, actual problem. For example, maybe you notice that students at a nearby school have zero options for healthy snacks that they can actually afford. See, that's not just an observation, that's a business opportunity staring you right in the face. An unmet need is your big green light. Okay, so let's move on. Once you have that new, kind of fragile idea, you've got to protect it, right? I want you to think of a startup incubator like an incubator for a baby chicken. It's this safe, warm, controlled environment that's designed to help something brand new and vulnerable grow strong enough to survive out in the real world. And that's really the formal definition right here. Startup incubation is a structured system. This isn't just about getting random advice from your friends. It's a deliberate, step-by-step process. And in a super high-risk industry like food, you're dealing with things going bad, tons of competition, changing tastes. Having this kind of support system can literally be the difference between making it and breaking it. So this whole process usually breaks down into these 4 key stages. First up is the idea stage. That's where you spot the problem we just talked about. Second is the development stage, where you start figuring out recipes, finding ingredients, setting prices. Third, and this one is absolutely critical, is the validation stage, where you actually test your idea with real customers. And finally, the growth stage, which is where you scale up once you know you've got a hit on your hands. It's a really logical path from what if to, okay, what's next? This brings us to what might be one of the most important rules for any new entrepreneur. Test before you invest. It sounds so simple, but you would be shocked at how many people just skip this part. A brilliant idea is, frankly, worthless if nobody is willing to open their wallet for it. This section is all about getting that proof. And this slide really nails the difference. On one side, you've got idea generation. That's the fun part, right? The brainstorming, the creativity. But on the other side, you have idea validation. This is the serious, practical business side of things, where you find out if that creative idea can actually make you money. You have to do both. You just have to. So how do you actually validate an idea without going broke? Well, here are some really simple, low-cost ways. You can create surveys or just go out and talk to potential customers. You can do a pilot sale. Make one small batch and see if anyone actually buys it. Take a good look at your competitors. What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? And most important of all, listen to every single piece of customer feedback. This is not about spending a ton of money. It's about learning. Okay, this is a perfect lead-in to our 4th section, the lean startup method. This is a pretty modern approach that has totally changed how new businesses get built. Forget the old way of writing a giant business plan and spending a fortune before you've even made a single sale. The philosophy here is simple, and it's powerful. Build smart, not big. Now, the heart and soul of the lean startup method is this little feedback loop. Build, measure, learn. You build a really simple version of your product. You measure how customers react to it with actual data. You learn from that data what's working and what isn't. And then, this is the important part, you repeat the cycle, making it a little better each time. It's all about learning as fast as you possibly can. That build part of the loop starts with something called a minimum viable product, or MVP. This is a huge concept. It's the most basic version of your product that still gives someone value and lets you kickstart that learning process. I want to be really clear. The goal of an MVP is not perfection. The goal is feedback. And this is just a perfect way to think about it in the food business. Let's say your ultimate dream is to open a fancy restaurant. Your MVP is not renting a building and buying a bunch of expensive ovens. No way. Your MVP is making one single batch of your signature dish, say chin chin, and selling it at a local market to see if people even like it enough to pay for it. You gotta start small so you can learn fast. All right, let's pull all this theory together in our last section, your first food business. We've talked about the process, we've talked about the mindset, so now let's look at some real-world, accessible ideas that you could literally get started on today. Honestly, the opportunities are just everywhere. You could focus on snack production. Things like chin chin or buns are perfect for this. You could offer catering for small parties. How about mobile food vending, a fresh juice and smoothie bar, or even a meal prep service for busy people? The great thing is, all of these can be started on a super small scale, as an MVP, just to test the waters. But look, no matter which idea you land on, there are some universal truths, some keys to success in the food world. For example, hygiene is completely non-negotiable. Your taste and quality have to be consistent every single time. Your pricing needs to be smart, amazing customer service can make you stand out from the crowd, and of course, location always matters, whether that's a physical stall or your online shop. So, we're going to end right where we started, but I'm hoping you have a totally new way of looking at things now. After all of this, I'm going to leave you with one last powerful question to chew on. What problem, big or small, exists in your community right now that a simple food idea could solve? The next great business might just be waiting right there for you to see it.